Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m., 8 degrees out there on this Wednesday morning. Thanks for starting your morning with us here on Daybreak. Another half hour that we'll be streaming here on WGRZ+. And we begin with this overnight house fire in Williamsville on Catherine Street. We learned that one person was trapped inside at one point, but he or she was able to get out safely along with everyone else in the home. Our photographer got to the scene around 1 a.m. where fire crews almost had the fire completely put out. We're told the fire caused about $400,000 worth of damage. The cause is still under investigation this morning. It is official. Jeremy Zellner is headed to Albany to represent those folks living in the 61st State Senate District. He'll be sworn in today. He defeated Republican candidate Dan Gagliardo in a special election to fill the seat that was vacated by Buffalo Mayor Sean Ryan. Daybreak's Natalie Foster is us live in the newsroom right now to tell us more about Zellner being sworn in and also having to start to run another campaign. Natalie?
Yeah, Melissa, he's going to be sworn in, but it's going to be kind of a short term for him because he's filling that vacant seat that Sean Ryan left behind. But we'll talk about election night first. It was emotional for Zellner. According to the unofficial results from the State Board of Elections, he won the race with 59% of the votes. He thanked his family and all of his supporters, saying that he's excited to work for the people of the 61st State District. Now, he's kind of worked behind the scenes. He's been the chairman for the Erie County Democratic Party for the last 14 years. He said that his relationships in Albany, though, are very strong. Zellner enters the legislature during a hectic budget season and says he isn't concerned about the work that needs to get done. Now, Republican candidate Dan Gagliardo also spoke with us last night after the results were read, telling us that he learned a lot from this campaign.
I grew up here, and I've spent my career on the ground here. I'm raising my family, my kids here. And yeah, I try to play basketball out there. I see that we can do better. And that's why I got into this race. And it's why I can't wait to get to Albany to work for you.
I will tell you that coming from the supervisor's race into this race, what I had thought was that we could keep the momentum going. I still think that the campaign that we ran was the best I've ever seen.
Now, something to note is that this job is just a temporary one. Zellner is filling the vacant seat that now Mayor of Buffalo, Sean Ryan, left, and that seat will be back up for grabs in November. So Zellner is already in campaign mode for the Democratic nomination, with that primary happening in June, where his main competitor in the primary race is Assemblyman John Rivera. Now, we asked Dan Gagliardo if he's going to run in the general election in November. You may remember he just ran for Amherst Town Supervisor and lost, and now he's run in this race and has lost once again. He said that right now he's not sure, but he wants to take some time and talk to his family before he enters another campaign. Melissa.
All right, Natalie, thank you for those updates this morning. Well, we are following a disturbing case in Buffalo. A mother and a stepfather are accused of serious abuse toward their 7-year-old child, who to the point that they nearly killed him, according to authorities. Prosecutors say they're shocked that the boy survived. They say the parents would punish the boy by holding him underwater in a cold bath. They're calling it waterboarding. They'd also beat him, tie him up, and refuse to give him food. Emergency responders found the child unresponsive inside a home on Parkdale Avenue back in December. According to the DA, this 7-year-old and 3 other children living in the home are now in foster care. 26-year-old Jacqueline Belabis and 24-year-old Paris Woods are facing multiple felony charges. They say there were 7 separate drowning events over a 3-month period. A third person, 20-year-old Cassandra Ballman of Buffalo, is also facing charges for assaulting the same child.
When the EMTs and police and fire arrived, he was unconscious. He was transported to the to Children's Hospital, where he remained for almost a week. Quite frankly, we expected this little boy to not survive for the first few days, and he's made a remarkable recovery.
Belabis and Woods are scheduled to return to court for a pretrial conference in the beginning of March, and Ballman is set to possibly face a judge later this morning. We've got an update on the gubernatorial race that's happening later this year. Lieutenant Governor Anthony Delgado is tapping India Walton to be his running mate against Kathy Hochul. Walton is a former candidate for Buffalo mayor. She actually beat former Mayor Byron Brown in the 2021 primary before Brown eventually won a write-in campaign during the general election. A man facing weapons charges for an incident at the same Tops involved in the 5/14 mass shooting is due back in court today. Prosecutors say that 34-year-old Aveo Pena pointed his gun at a person in the parking lot of the Tops on Jefferson back in June. Police say they later found 2 loaded ghost guns and several magazines in his car. Authorities say there's no connection to racism or the Tops shooting that happened there in 2022. Pena and his co-defendant, Ronnie Midget, were later indicted on felony weapons counts that could carry up to 15 years in prison. Midget is due back in court tomorrow. If you live in the village of Fredonia or the town of Pomfret, there's good news for you this morning. It's now safe to drink your water. The county health department lifted the boil water order and says issues at the treatment plant and the water main leaks have been fixed. And testing over 2 days shows that the water is now safe to use. However, a mandatory water conservation order remains in effect as the system refills storage tanks. Officials are asking all residents and businesses to continue cutting back on water use until further notice. The Buffalo Central Terminal Restoration Project is making new progress. Leaders say decorative medallions from the original waiting room have been saved, preserved, and digitally scanned, with plans to potentially form an exhibit around them. Crews are about halfway through phase 2 of construction. By 2027, the passenger concourse is expected to reopen for concerts, art installations, tours, and much more. Neighbors in Clarence are saying they'd just rather drive a little further away for a double-double or Timbits. According to our partners at Buffalo Business First, Harris Hill residents have filed a petition in state Supreme Court against a new proposed Tim Hortons on Main Street. Lawyers say that the neighbors are concerned about the drive-through traffic backing up onto Main Street and other residential streets. We're also looking ahead to a story that's airing tonight on Channel 2. It's about a Buffalo man who went to prison as a teenager for a murder he did not commit. John Walker was among a group of teenagers known by many as the Buffalo Five. They spent decades in prison. They were wrongfully arrested and charged and convicted in connection to the murder of a man named William Crawford 50 years ago. Walker was released from custody in 1998. A jury awarded him millions in a settlement to try to undo the wrong he endured. Claudine Ewing sat down with Walker for an original report, and you can watch that at 11 p.m. right here on Channel 2, and it will stream on WGRZ Plus. All right, we have made it up to 9 degrees. We were just 8 degrees a few minutes ago, Patrick.
Yeah, and look at all this steam.
Doubling that today, right?
Yeah, no, we're gonna barely double that. Yeah, look at all the steam coming from General Mills. I mean, there's got to be some kind of exhaust going on.
I don't know, but it does not smell like Cheerios outside.
No, it doesn't. Well, that depends on the wind direction.
Right.
This is more of a westerly wind. So anyway, apparently this was reducing visibilities on the 190, so near downtown. So just be mindful of that. All right, here we go. Mainly cloudy and cold, but I will say it was cloudy up until about an hour ago. Skies have cleared. We do think that some clouds will build back in, and it will be mostly cloudy and cold tomorrow. Snow on Friday, frigid temperatures this weekend. So the snow that we had this morning has ended, except for some light snow showers or flurries near the Lake Ontario shore, and also in some of the hills we're getting some of the flurries. And a future look does show some clouds kind of building back in as we head into the afternoon. So we'll call it partly sunny. For tonight, mostly cloudy again, falling into the upper single digits and 10 to about 10. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy with some flurries and a high near 20 degrees, kind of like today. But then we get into the cold, okay? Not necessarily Friday. Friday will be in the mid-20s with snow moving through. Periods of snow, it looks like on Friday. And the snow may get actually heavy Friday night as the actual cold front comes through. But then the real cold temperatures arrive on Saturday morning. Here is a look at snowfall. 1 to 2 inches, maybe 3 in the hills of fluffy snow that will be blowing all over the place on Saturday with gusty winds. Okay, don't look at the tomorrow. I'll try to, I just quickly made this map. Saturday at 4, these are your air temperatures. Single digits, okay? Sunday at 4, we're still into the low teens. I don't know what that is on my mic. It's been doing it all morning, and it's really strange. Anyway, it's just, let's hear that? It's not rubbing on anything. I'm looking at it. Anyway, Okay, all right. Light snow Friday, blowing snow on Saturday, high temperatures in the single digits. On Friday, snow, cold for the weekend, Melissa.
One thing that's going wrong, and it's actually not your fault.
I know. Oh, funny.
We'll fix that. We'll be right back. Buffalo Sabres goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen will not be playing for his native Finland in the upcoming Winter Olympics. Luukkonen was removed from Finland's roster as he continues to deal with a lower body injury that he suffered during a Sabres game about a week ago. Really tough break for the Sabres goalie, who spoke just weeks ago about the honor and excitement of representing his country as the games approach. Here's part of a sit-down with Luukkonen on what it meant to represent Finland on the world's biggest stage.
Any sport you can get to represent your country, it's huge back home, but I think overall national team hockey back home, it plays such a big part. It played a big part for me when I was growing up. You know, NHL wasn't that well covered back then when I was growing up.
UPL's replacement on Finland's roster will be Boston goaltender Joonas Korpisalo. The Sabres will still be repped by Rasmus Dahlin on Team Sweden and Tage Thompson wearing the red, white, and blue for Team USA.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It is funny that you said, like, we would have no idea who UPL is if we walked into Target or
now
something.
We finally put a face to the name.
Now we know what he looks like.
Right.
As for the Sabres, they played the Tampa Bay Lightning yesterday, came away with 1 point. They lost with only 14 seconds left in overtime. But by gaining that 1 point, they also went up in the standings. So now they sit in third place with one more game tomorrow before this long Olympic break.
Right.
So tomorrow they play the Penguins here at home in Buffalo, and then several weeks off as players head to Milan Cortina for the Olympics. Opening ceremonies start on Friday.
You wonder what effect this break could have on a team. Could it be a good thing? Could it be like they get rusty? Or I mean, I'm assuming they're going to be practicing, but that's
I don't even know if they will be practicing, but for those who might be hurt, they can take this time to nurse some injuries. But yeah, if they've got a lot of momentum right now, you don't want them to take off these weeks. But then it's just so fun to have Sabres hockey mean something in January.
February.
February, right. Every game kind of feels like a playoff game. They all have such implications when you're trying to fight for a spot. And it's been a 14-year playoff drought for the Sabres. You know, there's kids out there who have never seen the Sabres in a playoff game, including Elliot, who's such a big fan. So he's really excited about the potential of watching a Sabres playoff game.
Yeah. Let's just hope he keeps going. You know, it's certainly not fluky, this record. It's crazy good.
Well, look at the game a couple days ago. They were down 2. It was the Florida Panthers, the reigning Stanley Cup champs, who on their first 3 goals, they scored 2. And the Sabres came back.
On the first 3 goals they scored?
The first 3 shots. They scored 2 goals.
Got it. Okay.
And the Sabres came back with 3 unanswered goals, ended up winning that game 5-3. There was a time when you would see the Sabres down 2 goals, and you'd never think that they'd be able to come back to win.
Right.
So it's really great to see this team, and you feel bad for UPL though, missing out on the Olympics.
I know, that's too bad. I mean, what a dream.
Right.
Wow.
Not everyone can be Lindsey Vonn, who goes to 5 straight Olympics.
Which means, okay, so
right, it's 5. It's
5. So
fifth.
that means her first Olympics was in 2004. No, because 2002 was Salt Lake City. Was she in that one? It went Salt Lake City, then it was another place in Italy, then it was at Sochi, then it was Seoul.
So it would have been 2000.
Okay, well, we could do the math. But pretty good memory of all the Olympic
I'm very impressed, actually. That was very impressive, Patrick. But yeah, anyway, Lindsey Vonn hurt herself in the World Cup. She ruptured her ACL, and this was just last weekend. And she's like, yep, I'll be back. And I will try to compete in Milan Cortina. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, Bills news here and Sabres news. WGR 550 is no longer going to be broadcasting Bills for Sabres games.
Holy cow.
We have to hear what they have to say about it. Joe Brady was on GR this morning, and Brandon Bean will be on tomorrow morning on 550 to talk about the latest Bills developments. But yeah, they have cut ties now. The Bills have cut ties with the radio station. So now the Buffalo Bills will be producing and distributing all well, they're not radio broadcasts anymore, but all broadcasts for the regular season, preseason, playoff games.
But then it says the games will be on the radio with their other affiliates. So I'm confused. Why other stations but not GR? That's what, because it's the home market. I don't understand.
I don't know if is that right?
I wish we could get well. Yeah, that's what I read. I read it. It said the affiliates will still get it on the radio. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll double check that.
We'll double check that.
I'm not making
because
it up.
I do not believe that they will be on the radio.
But it said other.
All right, you pull it up. I'll keep reading. They've had a 14-year broadcast partnership with WGR Radio and the Bills. And the Bills say the traditional radio broadcast on WGR will transition to streaming only on BuffaloBills.com and on the Bills app, including the show One Bills Live, which airs from 1 to 3 on weekdays. In a statement, the Bills president of business operations, Pete Gwelly, said, quote, "The delivery of media content has changed dramatically over the years. We believe the model of in-house production, distribution, and sales will better position the organization to provide access to our fans, as well as allow us to further engage with local business community." So as far as we know, WGR could still do pre-game and post-game content, and they'll do their sports talk and have that same format. It's just that they won't actually have the games on WGR or on the Rochester affiliate as well. Your mic.
I'm not even moving, and you hear it. It's not me.
It's got to be.
It's not me.
I know. It's all right.
No, so
Did you figure it out?
I can't find that story yet. Okay, this is driving me crazy. Do you hear it in your ear?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get you a different mic. We'll take a break. We'll get you a different mic, and we will have a lot more coming up in the next 12 minutes here on Channel 2's Daybreak. Stay with us.
Okay.
Okay.
A remarkable story out of a local hospital.
Yeah, you want to keep reading?
Two on your sides, Lauren Hall shows us how a West Seneca family and a specialized care team came together to welcome quintuplets into the world.
Here at the NICU at Golisano Children's Hospital of Buffalo, a specialized care team and a local family are celebrating the rare and miraculous delivery of quintuplets. Jessica and John Loprin of West Seneca were already the proud parents of 2 young daughters, and they were hoping to grow their family by 1 more. But during Jessica's first ultrasound, they learned she was pregnant with 5 babies.
First finding out, I had a full-blown panic attack, and I think John also went into a state of shock too. But when I was panicking, saying, "What are we gonna do?" he was like, "We'll figure it out."
Quintuplet pregnancies are incredibly rare and high risk.
It's extremely rare. The numbers I've seen are 1 in 15 in a year in all of the world. And in Buffalo, we've only had it happen 1 other time.
It took a team of dozens of professionals from Maternal Fetal Medicine Center and Golisano Children's Hospital working together to prepare for Jessica's delivery.
It was a very collaborative approach. We had a meeting of, I think there were probably around 30 people there in all specialties, including obstetrics, the NICU, we had nursing, we had pharmacy, we had respiratory therapy.
Despite the risks, doctors encouraged Jessica to keep life as normal as possible.
Going out and spending time with my daughters, dropping my oldest daughter off at school, picking her up, and then as the holidays were rolling around, making sure holidays still stayed the same.
Jessica was admitted to the hospital in mid-December. At midnight on the 18th, her water broke, and the team of dozens rushed into action. Many of them called in from home in the middle of the night.
I was wheeled right into the OR right before 2, and Mason was out at 2:03, and Connor was out by 2:11.
Holly, Mason, Stefan, Connor, and Layla were born at 28 weeks and 5 days, and each weighed under 3 pounds at birth. They remain in the NICU, gaining weight and growing stronger.
The level 4 NICU was like the reason why we chose Golisano, with them being the only one in Western New York that was a level 4 NICU. We wanted all the babies to stay together, and we knew no matter what, the babies were going to be born premature. We just never knew how premature.
As overwhelming as this journey has been, the parents say this was never something they planned, but something they were meant for.
It's like, well, someone wanted us to have 5 babies. Like, this was not IVF. I did not implant 5 embryos. It wasn't the goal to try 4 multiples. So when it happened and we're like, there's 5, we're like, fate. We were meant to be the parents to quintuplets, I guess.
John, Jessica, and their doctors say all 5 babies are thriving here in the NICU and should be ready to graduate soon. On your side in Buffalo, Lauren Hall, Channel 2 News.
Okay, this could have been a 10-minute story because I have so many more questions.
It's crazy.
Right. I mean, now we know about how they were conceived and delivered and the process.
How they were conceived.
Well, that it was not IVF,
Right.
that this was, a natural multiple
That's what
birth.
I assumed it was IVF.
Right. But it was not. And so it's just that rare that there are only about 15 sets of quintuplets born
In the
every,
country.
well, yeah, that official from the hospital said in the world. I looked it up. It's in the country. Regardless, it's
So rare.
so rare.
15 times, and one of them was here.
And it's only the second time that we've ever had quints here in Western New York. And so I certainly hope that we can follow up with this family a year later and find out how things went, maybe around Christmas time. How was their first Christmas with these babies? But what will go into taking care of them? Will the parents be able to work? Will they have staff around the clock or family? And I did see that there was a local law firm that worked with a nonprofit organization that donated 6 months of diapers to the family.
Right.
But they'll need all the help they can get with the cost associated
Right,
with
and
this.
what does insurance cover? Like if he or she can't work because they're carrying, he gets paternity leave, and she does as well, maternity. But yeah, I have a lot of questions on how this is. It's a wonderful thing.
Right.
But what does this look like in a year? Right?
Yeah.
And how you're
So,
going to take care of
God bless them.
7
Good luck
kids.
to them, and we
Yeah.
wish them all the best. And of course, we hope that the babies continue to grow and thrive as they're in the NICU and will be coming home soon. Okay, the Bills might not be playing on Sunday, but one Western New Yorker will be in Santa Clara representing Bills Mafia. Actually, we talked to Therese Fortin-Barnes. She was the Bills Fan of the Year, so she's there right now. But also, to On Your Side's Kelly Dudzik is the story behind the Bills' 2025 Inspire Change Changemaker.
Meet the Bills' 2025 Inspire Change Changemaker, Niagara Falls City Schools Superintendent Mark Laurie.
And I was completely blown away when they put my name on the screen and did a little video of my 42-year career and said that I would be their change maker representing the Buffalo Bills.
Laurie was chosen for the award because of the work he's done in the community to help young people in the district. He helped bring hands-only CPR training to student athletes and has been a champion of bringing the Say Yes program to Niagara Falls. Besides a trip to the Super Bowl, part of the award is a $10,000 donation from the NFL Foundation for a nonprofit of Laurie's choice, and he picked Say Yes.
This will be a small contribution to scholarships for Niagara Falls students in perpetuity once we get Say Yes up and going. Every little bit helps, and it just was an honor to receive the gift, but then to give it right back to my home district to help our kids in Niagara Falls was even a greater gift for me.
Laurie is also a huge Bills fan and usually watches the games on his couch without distractions. So Sunday's game day experience will be a little different.
We're going to get to go to the NFL experience. We're going to meet the other change makers from the other 31 cities. We're going to proudly wear our Bills stuff and to represent the Bills Mafia. What icing on the cake it would have been to have the Bills join me there. It's still a great honor. I'm still going to be rooting for Seattle. So you know, I have to root for Seattle in this game for obvious reasons. But the only thing that I wish, and they should be, the Bills should be there with us.
On your side, Kelly Dudzik.
That would have been so cool. But okay, we can't relive that over and over.
I know. I just saw a post from Therese Fortin-Barnes. She's the Bills Fan of the Year, who is out there with the other fans of the year, and she just posted a picture with Deanne Dawkins.
No way.
And she said she said still smiling from last night. I ran into Deanne Dawkins, and like always, he hit me with T-Bone, a very old nickname of mine that she still goes by. But she said that he's up for Walter Payton Man of the Year. She's hoping that she gets to watch him possibly win that award. But it's really fun for these Bills fans who were picked by the Bills to be representing the team and Bills Mafia out at the Super Bowl, that they get to rub elbows with some of the players who are out there too.
Yeah, very
so,
cool.
Oh yeah, cool experience. But it certainly would have been neat if the Bills were there, since Santa Clara is so close to Josh Allen's hometown.
I mean, I wonder if he can even watch the game, or is he going to the NFL honors thing where they vote on or they select the MVP? Remember last year?
Yeah.
Be good, do good, go Bills. Remember that's
right.
But my point is, all things Super Bowl for him must be extremely personal, thinking that it would have been home turf.
Well, he is up for MVP again.
Yes, he is, technically. Right.
But he doesn't really need to be there.
Right.
And he probably, I don't think he would be
I mean,
there
I'm just
if
thinking
not.
he's there. It's what could have been feelings the whole time.
I don't even want to sit home and watch the game. So I can't imagine that he wants to be there taking in all of the festivities.
I think he's pretty close with Darnold, so he may want to just kind of root him on. So, I don't know.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Stay warm. We'll see you back here on Daybreak from 4:30 to 9:30 tomorrow.